Yaakov got the blessing, and Esav begged for something. He understood that it was permanent, but he begged that father should give him something. His father does give him. The verb to bless is not mentioned. One of the objections his father had to giving him was, I've made your brother a master over you. Whatever I give you is going to belong to him. In what he says to Esau at the end, he sort of takes care of that, because he says the fact that he's your master may not be permanent. He's got to deserve it. And if he doesn't, then you can throw off his yoke from off your neck. And one of the Mefarshim says, if you'll give something to a slave, and then the slave will get his freedom, what he has in his hand will belong to him. So if God gives to Esau, and Esau's under Jacob's control, still, if the time comes when he throws off Jacob's control, that will be his. So it's not necessarily empty. All depends on Jacob. We know that in fact, is what happened. And we said that Esau was very upset. He harbored hatred. And I indicated that I'm not able to accept the translation. Esau's not hoping that his father will die quickly, but he's saying, the days my father's mourning for my father are drawing close. After all, his father told him, I'm giving you a blessing because I don't know when I'm going to die. So his father feels that he's old and uncertain about continued life. Esau takes from him that his end is near, and when that happens, he says, I'll kill my brother. Now, we mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned yesterday or not, this is an extraordinary thing on Esau's part. Esau is guilty of the worst crimes in the world. And he's full of impetuous emotions and impetuous action, not thought out, doesn't have a lot of great self-control. But he's not going to kill his brother until his father dies. This says two things. Number one, he cares enough about his father that he won't do something which he knows will distress his father. And number two, he knows it will distress his father. He knows his father loves Jacob. He knows that his father has not lost feeling or connection for Jacob because of the incident that Jacob deceived him. That's another indication that what Jacob did was not something that was wrong, reprehensible. So that's Esau now. Esau's saying, just waiting for my father to die. 42, Rebekah was told the words of her oldest son Esau. She sent and summoned Jacob. Now, she was told his words. How did that happen? The previous verse says Esau thought. 41, Aleph, it says, Esau said in his heart. We're on page 141. Esau said in his heart. How did she know what Esau said in his heart? So they say that it was a kind of Ruach HaKodesh, and she now is going to take precautions. So she called her Jacob, her youngest son, and said to him, behold, your brother Esau is consoling himself regarding you to kill you. In other words, he's very upset, very angry, very hurt. Consoling means he's making himself feel better. And the way he's making himself feel better is by saying to himself, my chance will come. My chance will come. I'll kill him, and then I'll get revenge, and then I'll feel good. Even now, in anticipation, he's making himself feel good. Now, she says to him, 43, so now, my son, heed my voice and arise, flee to my brother Lavan, to Haran, and remain with him a short while until your brother's wrath subsides. I don't know. Okay, it's a short while. Until your brother's anger against you subsides, and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of both of you on the same day? Now, bereaved means to lose. So someone dies. She means not what you would think. On the surface, it sounds like, what's Esau's plan? When my father dies, I'm going to kill my brother. All right, so father dies, they bury him. Esau takes out his gun and shoots Yaakov because that's what he planned to do. And she would be saying, I'm going to lose two of you, meaning I'm going to lose my husband, and I'm going to lose Jacob on the same day. But that's not what it means. That's not what she's saying. Rashi brings from Medrash. And Isaac hasn't been mentioned in her speech. So Isaac is not a plausible candidate for who the two are. So she says, so the Medrash says that I'm going to lose both of you. If you kill him, if he kills you, then your children will kill him. I'll lose the two brothers in one day. And that is a very remarkable thing for her to say. Because it means that she's anticipating the pain of losing even Esau. Even though she loves Jacob, and we pointed out at the beginning of the Parsha that she doesn't love Esau in the same way, at least she might not love him at all, but he's her son. And the idea of losing him is something which she anticipates is going to be very painful to her. Maybe on the grounds, which I told you the other day, that he could always turn back. He could always reform. It's always possible that his outcome should be different. When he dies, it's over and has no more potentiality. And anyway, whatever it is, but that's what she says. I don't want this to happen. So now, if you're out of town, if Isaac dies, and we bury him, and you're out of town, yes, Esau's first thought will be, now I can kill my brother. But that might pass. It might pass. I'm hoping it will pass. And when it passes, I will send a message to you that you can come home and you're not in danger anymore. That's her, what she says, heed my voice. We said heed my voice means to obey me and to do that. Now, Jacob's answer is not recorded, but the next step is, he obviously accepts it. He's willing to go. But he can't just leave home. What about his father? It's the father who runs the affairs of the house. And as we had the case of Abraham and Sarah, when Sarah said, kick Hagar and Ishmael out of the house, she couldn't throw them out. She had to convince Abraham. Abraham said no, so God came to him and said, yes, she's right, you're wrong, do what she says. Here too, Rebecca has a plan, but she can't enact it. She can't tell Jacob to run. She's got to get Isaac to agree. So that's the next move. Rebecca said to Isaac, I'm disgusted with my life on account of the daughters of Ches, the Hittite women. 143. If Jacob takes a wife of the daughters of Ches like these, the daughters of the land, what is life to me? Let's see if your memory helps you pick up what she's saying. She says, I'm disgusted at my life on account of the daughters of Ches, the Hittite women. If Jacob takes a wife of the daughters of Ches like these, which these? Esau married two Hittite women. She says, if Jacob marries the way Esau did, my life is over. That gives you another indication that Esau marrying these Hittite women wasn't a good move. It wasn't a good move. As you'll see by the bottom of the page, it's going to get worse. Jacob can't do that. It's bad enough that Esau did it, but Jacob? For sure not. Just like Jacob's father, Isaac, had a wife from that family, her family, Lavan. So she's saying, my son Jacob also should have a wife from my family. That's what she says to Isaac. And Isaac is 100% in agreement. So Isaac summoned Jacob and blessed him. If anybody had any doubts as to the status of Jacob after the deception, the very first words are he summoned him and he blessed him. And now watch the blessing. He instructed him and he said, do not take a wife from the Canaanite women. Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Basul, your mother's father. Take a wife from there for the daughters of Lavan, your mother's brother. Okay, that's what his wife asked for. That's what Rebecca wanted. First item is to confirm what she wanted, is to go there and get married from the family. Now comes something that Rebecca didn't say anything about. This is completely independent. And may, now comes one of the names of God, bless you, make you fruitful, make you numerous, make you be a congregation of peoples. That sounds familiar. It sounds to me something like what God told Abraham, what God told Isaac. Sounds like he's being told he's number 3 in the chain. But if you have any doubts, look at the next words. May grant you the blessing of Abraham. Yes, you are the continuation. To you and to your offspring with you, that you may possess the land of your sojourns which God gave to Abraham. So you are the continuation. You are it. And as we pointed out, this is not an after-lunch blessing. There's no prelude to this blessing. Jacob doesn't have to do anything to deserve it or to connect with his father, because the connection is spontaneous and total because of who Jacob is. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you something. I'll show you a Rashi, which is tiny and explosive. So Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went toward Padan Aram to Lavan, the son of Besul the Aramean, brother of Rebekah, mother of Jacob and Esau. Okay, a whole family tree. Isn't that nice? This is the mother, this is the brother, this is the father, this is the child. Oh, the whole family tree. Rashi says, on the very last words, mother of Jacob and Esau, I don't know what this teaches us. I don't know what this teaches us. That's what Rashi says. It's not unknown for Rashi to say something like that. It's rare, but it's not unknown. Saying this, I don't know what this is for. Okay? Now, let's go back and look through the story. I want to point out a piece of style in the story that goes all the way from the beginning. And it came to pass when Isaac became old, his eyes dim from seeing, that he summoned Esau, his oldest son. That's who he is, all right. I remember that from the beginning of the Parshat. Esau was born first, Jacob was born second. Didn't we know that already? Oh, okay. His oldest son said to him, my son, he said to him, see, I go out and hunt. 5, Rebekah was listening to Isaac spoke to Esau, his son. Oh, did you forget from verse 1 that Esau is his son? From the beginning of the Parshat? No, Esau is his son. Esau went to the field. But Rebekah said to Jacob, her son, saying, behold, I feel, you're bringing your brother Esau. Your brother Esau. I don't mean Esau from St. Louis, or from Cincinnati. I mean your brother Esau, right? In case you get confused, right? So it's Esau, your brother. Bring me some game. 8, so now my son, heed my voice. Go to the flock. I'll make for your father. I'll bring it. 11, Jacob replied to Rebekah, his mother. Did you forget that Rebekah was his mother? No, huh? Okay, very good. But my brother Esau, next page, my father. 13, his mother said to him, fetch, brought to his mother made delicacies. 15, Rebekah then took her oldest son's, Esau's clean garments, her oldest son. Oh, maybe you got confused and thought it was Esau from down the street. Or maybe you forgot that he's the firstborn son. Unlikely, huh? Clothed. With the skins, closed his arms, placed the delicacies, hand of her son Jacob. In case you forgot, or thought maybe it was another Jacob, a cousin. Came to his father, said, Father, okay. Isaac said to his son, 20, how he was quick. And he answered, Isaac said to Jacob, come close. Isaac, 22, Jacob drew close to Isaac, his father. Yeah, not another Isaac, Okay, did not recognize him. You are indeed my son Esau, etc. Then his father Isaac, 26, come close. Uh, 30 was, next 139, middle of the page. Isaac finished blessing Jacob. Jacob scarcely left the presence of Isaac, his father. Esau, his brother, came back. He too made delicacies, brought them to his father. My father rise. Father said to him, who are you? And he tells him, oh, fine. Esau heard his father's words. Bless me to father. Okay, these are all right. Esau said to his father, behold. Now, 42, bottom of 141. Rebekah was told the words of her older son, Esau. Oh, yes, the older son, Esau. So her cousin. She sent some, Jacob, her younger son, said to him, behold, your brother Esau. So now my son. On all of these, Rashi says nothing. Zero. He's silent. How many different unnecessary, redundant family connections have I mentioned in these verses? 15, at least? He says nothing. Now we come, on page 143, to verse 5. Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padan Aram, to Lavan, the son of Bethuel, the Aramean, brother of Rebekah. All that Rashi is silent. Mother of Jacob and Esau. Rashi says, I don't know what this teaches us. Okay, now a piece of logic. What do you have to conclude? If Rashi was silent all the way up to here, and here he says, I don't know what this teaches us, what do you have to conclude?
That it includes all the other stuff.
That what? Say again?
That it includes all the other stuff. It doesn't include all the other stuff.
On the contrary, it excludes all the other stuff. All the way through, he understood it well. This one, he doesn't know what it teaches us. And that means that Rashi could understand that these verses have a significance and not tell you. Because he's silent all the way through. He means there is something to be communicated, and I didn't bother to tell you. But here, I don't know what to say. There, it's so obvious that... Now, I'll tell you formally what the difference is. The difference is that in all the previous cases, you're describing someone performing an action. When someone's performing an action, one of the things you want to know is what's going on in his head. How does he think about what he's doing? And what he's telling you is that in each case, when A is interacting with B, and you say, A, B's older brother, or B's younger son, or B's mother, or so on and so on, that's what the agent has in mind. I'm doing this to my mother, to my father, to my brother, to my older son, to my younger son. That's what she has in mind. She's experiencing it that way. Here, it's not describing an action at all. It's not even describing a situation. Here it says, 5, again, on 143, Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went toward Padan Aram. Now, where's he going to? To Lavan, the son of Bethuel, the Aramean, brother of Rebekah. All that, Rashi says nothing. If I'm picturing Jacob going, and he's going to that place, and he's going to this person, Lavan, who his parents have sent him to go to, what's in his mind? Well, what's in his mind is that he's my mother's brother, and he's part of the line that goes back to Terach, part of the greater clan. But when it says that she, Rebekah, is the mother of Jacob and Esau, Rashi can't put that into the action. Nothing of what he's going to do is because his mother is his mother and Esau's mother. Lavan is his mother brother. Okay, so I'll show you that connection in a minute, a couple of pages down the road. That's what Rashi's saying. All the other, and you as a reader, you know what it means to read about a person performing actions in a very weighty and historic interaction. And these words will naturally say to you, he's doing this because he's his brother, doing this because his mother, older son, younger son. All that you can understand yourself from the point of view of the human feeling of the scenario. But here it doesn't contribute to the scenario. So here Rashi says, I don't understand it. And that's to tell you that all the other ones he did understand. Now let me show you where this idea is written in spades. Look on page 149. If you need to prove this to somebody, here's where it's written in spades. Jacob eventually goes to Padan Aram, where Lavan lives, and he ends up at the well outside the city, and the shepherds are there, and he talks to them and talks to them about the city, and then Rachel, his cousin, comes out with her flock. Now look at verse 10. And it was when Jacob saw Rachel, daughter of Lavan, his mother's brother. and the flock of Lavan, his mother's brother. Jacob came forward and rolled off the stone of the mouth of the well and watered the sheep of Lavan, his mother's brother. Now, I think that's, spectacular. His mother's brother 3 times in one verse. Ribono shel olam. How could you, a study in redundancy would find this to be the paradigm of redundancy. 3 times in one verse? What it's telling you is that every interaction here, who does he have in mind? His mother. He has his mother in mind. It's her image before his eyes. This girl is my mother's niece. These flocks are my mother's. Right? It's all his mother is in his mind. That's the image in front of his eyes, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. So here you can see it. You can see it as a description of his state of mind, emphasized because it was like a fixation on his part. And that's what Rashi is saying, where we are there when it says Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. It doesn't describe anything in the quality of the action, so therefore he says, I don't know what it's. And that's just something you can get out of a little Rashi. You put it into context, and you can learn, as I said, a great deal from it. Mother of Jacob and Esau, the verse repeats the obvious to imply that even though Esau had the same genealogy as Jacob, and it would have been just as logical for his parents to ask him to seek his mate in Haran, they did not do so because of the heir of Abraham was Jacob, not Esau. That's what Ramban says. Or the Torah says she's the mother of both of them, so she sent both of them away because she didn't want to have bloodshed between the two of them. Right? But this is describing Jacob's action. See, Rashi will say, this verse is describing Jacob's action. You're telling me it says Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau, because of her action. But that's not what the verse is talking about. The verse is talking about Jacob's action. So he's not going to hear that. Okay. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him off to Padan Aram to take himself a wife from there, as he blessed him, he commanded him, saying, that is, Isaac commanded Jacob, saying, you shall not take a wife from among the daughters of Canaan. Okay. Gave him a blessing, and he told him specifically, don't marry the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and mother and went to Padan Aram. Then Esau perceived that the daughters of Canaan were evil in the eyes of Isaac his father. First clue in Esau's life, first clue. And of course, it says that Jacob obeyed his father and mother, but in terms of Esau's concern, it was evil in the eyes of his father. Esau was committed to his father. It was honoring his father that he was outstanding at, not honoring his mother. That wasn't part of his reality. But he honored his father. So, Esau went to Yishmael. Now, Yishmael is Abraham's son, right? So it's within the Abrahamic family. And took Mochalas, the daughter of Yishmael, son of Abraham, sister of Nebayot, in addition to his wives, as a wife for himself. Okay, evaluation time. Good, bad, indifferent, nice try, B+. What shall we say about Esau's move here? Anybody else have a thought? Look carefully at what the words say. Put it together in terms of the way the logic goes. Look, start at 6. No, that's an 8. 8 and 9. What is it that he learned all of a sudden now? That the Canaanite women...
Evil.
What do you think he should do if the Canaanite women are evil? Get rid of them. Yeah. They're the ones that are evil. No, you know what he does? He adds another wife. Oh, how nice of him. Another wedding, Baruch Hashem, all the presents. Sheva brachas, we'll have a good time and everything else. And the text emphasizes it because the very last words are, in addition to his wives, as wife for himself. So 1 second.
Okay.
So here's another case, like when we talked about, at least in negotiations. you have to read carefully, and you have to read every word and try to put things together. The initial impression is, well, he's marrying a girl from the Abrahamic family, he's marrying the way that the Jews should marry. That's true, but what he learned was not every Jew needs a Jewish wife. That's not what he learned. He didn't learn about getting married at all. What he learned was that having Canaanite wives is terrible. That's what he learned. So he should have gotten rid of the Canaanite wife. No, not that. Not that. Now, I could still accept what you say in part. He's making a gesture. It's true the gesture is the right gesture, but it isn't what he should have learned from what he understood now, that they hate the Canaanite wives. He should have learned to get rid of them. So that's definitely a failure. Rashi uses words which I can't quite explain wholly in detail. It says, Hoshit Rishaso. He added evil to his evil. I understand that what he did was wrong, but why would marrying a woman within the Jewish clan add evil to his evil? I only hear the mistake in Esau is his inaction. He didn't get rid of the Canaanite women. Rashi wants to say keeping the Canaanite women means marrying the Jewish woman is worse. To have a Jewish woman together with Canaanite women is worse than not having her at all. That's what Rashi's saying. I don't understand why. I got an explanation of it. But you see here that even at the moment of wanting to make a gesture, the gesture is at best fractured. It's incomplete. It doesn't do the job that needs to be done. When Abraham sent Eliezer out to find a wife for Isaac, right? He said, go to my family. He didn't specify where. He said to go to Bethuel. Eliezer went to Bethuel and Lavan, and he told them, if you agree to the proposition, fine. And if you don't, I'll go to the right and to the left. And Rashi says there in the base of Chazal, I'll go to Yishmael, I'll go to Lot. So it sounds there that he went, maybe they're the closest ones, and therefore he went to them first, but it didn't sound like there was any specific preference. Now that Isaac already married from that family, that's a natural place to go first. That I can understand. But I don't think there's any inherent preference for one over the other. Especially since Yishmael became a tzaddik when he died. And these people, Bethuel and Lavan certainly wasn't a tzaddik. Lavan was a terribly wicked person. And even so, it's his daughter that qualified. So if you have an animal, in order to eat animal, it's got to split hooves and chew its cud. Now imagine an animal that has one but not the other. Split hooves is a 4-second examination. You pick up the paw, and you look and see whether they're split or not. Does it chew its cud? Does it not chew its cud? You have to watch for days. You have to, if you're not familiar with the animal, take an animal that has split hooves but doesn't chew its cud. It can parade its kashrus. Just look at my hooves, right? Okay, if you stick around with it for 48 hours, you see it doesn't keep chewing and chewing. They say, oh, there's something wrong here. It's not really, but it's not the obvious thing. The pig, and so the Chazal identified the pig has split hooves but doesn't chew its cud. So here, by holding up Mochlas, the woman from within the Jewish clan, he could say, you see how kosher I am, and hiding behind that, the Risha Sahavi. Thank you, that's a good shot. I didn't realize that. Well, I'm surprised it's in Rashi, I didn't see it. Okay. Jacob departed from Beersheba and went toward Haran. Now, suppose I cut out the first half of the sentence. Would we lose any data? You can't go on a trip if you stay home. Can't do that. Obviously, if he went to Haran, he left home. We know where he was living. So the question is, why does the Torah bother to tell us that he left Beersheba and went toward Haran?
Beersheba is where Isaac was?
Yeah. So now, Rashi says something here, and he adds something, and we have to analyze the connection. Rashi says, because when a tzaddik leaves a place, it makes a difference in the place. Means to tell you that when he went on this trip, his leaving Beersheba had an independent significance. A tzaddik leaves the place, it's not the same place anymore. And then Rashi says, just like what the verse in the book of Ruth says about Naomi, when she and Ruth came back from Moab. It says that she left Moab and came back to Israel. And it says, you see, the leaving, a great person leaves a place, makes a difference in the place. That's what Rashi says. Now, the obvious question to ask is, why would the verses tell us this twice? Has to be that neither one implies the other. There's something unique about the two cases. If you said it in one, you say, okay, here yes, but not there, and vice versa. So let's try. Let's imagine the verse here tells us, Jacob left Beersheba and went to Haran. When Jacob left Beersheba, that was a hit. Beersheba took a hit. Wasn't the same Beersheba. I have that on the table, and now I think, what happened when Naomi left Moab? Did Moab take a hit? Should I learn from the fact that Jacob's exodus cost Beersheba that Naomi's exodus also cost Moab? I don't think so, because Jacob is one of the patriarchs. In certain respects, he's the greatest of the patriarchs. When he leaves, it's going to hurt. As great as Naomi was, she couldn't compare with Jacob. So certainly, if I was only told that when Jacob left, it made a difference, I wouldn't have been able to attribute that to Naomi as well. The question would be the other way around. Teach me that when Naomi left Moab, it made a difference, had an impact. I say, well, if Naomi's leaving had an impact, certainly Jacob's leaving had an impact, and you wouldn't have to tell me about Jacob. The answer is this. There's a gigantic difference, not in the status of each individual, but in the context. When Jacob left Beersheba, what was the status of Beersheba at that time? Well, it had in it Isaac and Rebekah. So Beersheba had in it 3 great people. And one left. So now it's 2. That makes a difference, no question about it. But when Naomi was in Moab, there was 1 great person. And when she left, it was 0. The difference between 1 and 0 is much bigger than the difference between 3 and 2. Imagine a room that's totally sealed, no light gets in from the outside, and 3 candles are burning. And someone puts out 1 candle. That'll make a difference. But you can't compare it to the same room with 1 candle burning and put out the candle and there's no light at all, in total darkness. When Naomi left, she left Moab empty. And those are the 2 things that the 2 places have to teach us. That a great person can make a difference, even if you have these great people behind. And a lesser person who isn't as great, but if it's that person versus 0, leaves the place, the difference there is also very significant and has to be taken into account. So you see when Rashi makes a double comment like that, with logic you can work it out that it's informative on both sides. Okay?